So here's one very simple question, to which the answer, we suspect, will be anything but straightforward. Which is faster around the infield circuit at the Rockingham Motor Speedway? A £100,000 Porsche 911 GT3 or an £88,000 Nissan GT-R Track Edition? On paper you'd say it would have to be the mighty Nissan. Not only does it boast more power and torque than the GT3, but it's also four, rather than rear-wheel drive, comes fitted with Dunlop's best track day tyres and track-tuned suspension, and it has not one but two turbochargers attached to its 3.8 litre engine, whereas the 911, also a 3.8, has none. Also in changeable conditions, as was the case at Rockingham on the day of filming, GT-Rs have always had a reputation for flattening their opposition completely. Porsche first then, this is what happened next.
So we've got the national circuit to play with to ourselves. That's the good news. The bad news is it's really, really cold. It's rained quite heavily last night, unfortunately. And there are just all sorts of patches of damp which are just, they kind of almost feel like they're patches of ice. I'm not going to turn any of the electronics off for the quick stuff. I'll turn them off a bit later to have a bit of a play, but I genuinely think it is so slippery. And because of these cup tyres that the GT3 comes on, which are absolutely, you just have a small amount of grip and then absolutely no grip whatsoever. I'm leaving all the electronics on. So the GT3 is not as powerful as the Nissan, as we've said, 469 horsepower, but it is hugely lighter than the Nissan. It's kind of difficult to tell which is going to be quicker. The Porsche's got an extra gear ratio, which means it's got closer gear ratios. It's got a 7-speed dual clutch, whereas the Nissan's only got a 6. But anyway, I'm going to start my lap right here. Oh, the front end normally feels so good on this car, but not on this track, not on these tyres, and not today. Yeah, it feels quite good through there. Whoa, short shift into fourth. This is the really treacherous bit, but because there's this bump just there and it wants to upset the car. You've got to be so patient through there. Again, I've short shifted up into third. Beautiful gearbox in the GT3. Gosh, this car does not feel like a handful like this normally, but it's just the tyres and the temperature. They're just not quite there, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, massive piece of understeer then. All you can do is just gently tickle the brakes and hope you haven't overcooked it. Oh, giving that apex a wide berth there. Right, let's see what the lap time is now.
So in far from dry conditions, the GT3 managed a lap of 1 minute 22.1 seconds. In perfect conditions, GT3s have been known to lap the same circuit in about 1 minute 19 seconds, so call it 3 seconds worth of dampness. Surely the all-wheel drive GT-R could beat that.
Right, unfortunately, I've just climbed into the GT-R to see if it's going to go quicker than the GT3, and the heavens have opened. The GT-R is four-wheel drive, and you'd think that that should give it more traction, more grip, more of everything in conditions like this. But the trouble is the tyres that the Track Edition GT-R wears. They're Dunlop's equivalent of basically the cup tyre that's on the Porsche. They're almost a kind of a slick with a few grooves in it, and as a result you have absolutely no grip whatsoever. I've obviously got all the electronic systems switched on just as I did in the Porsche. I've actually got the dampers set to comfort because I want it to be as soft as possible when it's like this, just to try and chew a bit more grip out of the tarmac. Anyway, the lap's going to start here. I'm going to have to be a lot more cautious. The front actually initially just is right there, even though it's a lot wetter than it was when I was doing the Porsche. Sometimes a bit of rain does actually help, because it just allows you to the grip levels are that much more consistent, because at least it's wet everywhere. But nah, this is really not very fair on the dear old Nissan. These conditions are significantly worse than when the GT3 set its time. And the trouble is, I'm just having to allow huge amounts more space to brake, because otherwise you just end up arriving at a corner and just going straight off. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, it's fun, as you can hear, but quick it ain't. Because I'm just having to short shift everywhere and just not... I cannot commit speed-wise to any part of any corner, really. Tell you what, though, the electronic systems really do their thing of keeping you on the circuit, alright? Very good indeed. And I think the initial bite out of these Dunlop tyres is actually a bit better than the Michelin's when it's really greasy and slippery like this. Anyway, the lap ends there.
Unfortunately, the Nissan's eventual time of 1 minute 33 seconds couldn't really be compared to the Porsche's time at all, because by then the conditions had changed completely. However, to compare like with like on the day, I went back out in the Porsche for one last time. In the exact same full wet conditions as the Nissan had lapped, to my total astonishment, it went 2 seconds faster than the Nissan. The Porsche's Michelin tyres that had been so edgy in the damp actually turned out to be much friendlier when it was fully wet, whereas the Nissan's grip just fell away the wetter it got. Either way, in full wet conditions, the GT3 was the fastest, and no, we didn't expect that result for one moment either. Click on the video windows to watch a track battle between the 911 GT3 RS and the Cayman GT4, or watch a first drive of the Lamborghini Huracan LP582. Click on the play icon to watch our latest video, or on our logo to subscribe to our channel.